Hey everyone, Kevin here with an update on the stimulus package and stimulus checks for April 19th. Let's get started today by answering the question, what happens if you received a stimulus check but you were not supposed to get one? You looked at your account, you knew you were claimed as a dependent by somebody else and you don't qualify for the stimulus check, but all of a sudden $1,200 appeared, or more money appeared, or for whatever reason you were overpaid. Do you have to pay that back, or are you safe to spend it? Well, according to multiple sources, such as the Wall Street Journal and the Tax Foundation, you do not have to repay that money. If you were overpaid and the IRS made a mistake, you get to keep that money. Now, just a disclaimer, even though you keeping the money seems 99% credible, it is not from the IRS's mouth. So it's not 100% guaranteed yet. Keep that in mind. This is different, however, if you're in charge of somebody's account who passed away and they got paid and should not have been paid. Technically, that money should go back to the IRS, although they have not yet issued guidance for how and when to do that. Now, this also begs the question, what if you were underpaid? You were expecting $1,700 and you got $1,200 or whatever. For some reason, you were underpaid. Well, about 15 days after you receive payment, you should expect a letter in the mail from the IRS giving you options for disputing your payment amount and correcting it. Right now, the IRS and Treasury Department are trying to get checks out as fast as possible, and they realize there are going to be mistakes. And so their goal right now is get as many checks out as they can and then fix the problems afterwards. If you got overpaid, leave us alone. If you got underpaid, hit us up once we send you the letter. And there does not yet seem to be a way to expedite that though. Now, there's also been a rumor floating around that, hey, the IRS is ahead of schedule. They're printing checks earlier than expected. Maybe I don't have to go through the hassle of filing my 2019 taxes or putting my direct deposit information on the IRS portal at irs.gov/EIP. I have no idea where that rumor came from, honestly, because it doesn't make sense. The IRS needs to print 90 million checks. They have the capacity to print 5 million checks per week, which means it's going to take over 4 months to print and mail all of these checks. They just don't physically have the ability to be ahead of schedule. I mean, maybe if ahead of schedule is, oh, it came a day early, great. But it does appear that it's going to take a while to get your paper check if you're not using that tool online. Now, some of y'all have mentioned that you've put your direct deposit information online, but then you have been scheduled for a paper check. This could be because your name did not match to what's on your account. It could also be because there was a mistake with a bank account number or the routing number, or for whatever reason, the banking institution rejected your direct deposit information. So if you are putting your information online, especially with how clunky the IRS system is, I highly encourage you, triple check the numbers you put in. A trick that I like to do is I'll put the numbers in and then I'll walk away, get a cup of coffee and come back and compare again, because then it's kind of like my eyes have reset. Alternatively, you could use a password app where you keep all your banking information and you just copy and paste it. Now, there are also reports of people getting letters in the mail with things that look like debit cards attached, and they say, please call this company to activate your deposit refund. And that company you call asks you for your social and date of birth and other important information. Be careful. A lot of these are scams. The IRS is not sending out debit cards to anybody. I think this is trying to take advantage of the fact that a lot of people receive their tax refunds on a debit card from like H&R Block or something like that. So that sort of created this belief that, oh, okay, yeah, if I get a gift card from the IRS or a debit card from the IRS, cool, that sounds good, that's awesome. Be careful. A lot of these things are scams. The IRS has never been known to use debit cards to issue refunds. Check or direct deposit. And if you're not sure, check the portal, irs.gov/EIP. Additionally, if you've received money on, let's say, an Emerald card with H&R Block, or for whatever reason it's on a card, like your unemployment insurance is being put on a debit card, and you need to pay rent or you need to pay bills that you can't pay with a debit card, you could use a service like Plastic, and that's IQ at the end, so PLASTIQ.com, plastic.com. That way you could use a debit card to make payments. That's not sponsored, just wanted to throw it out there. I think they they charge 1% as a fee though for debit cards, which does kind of suck. But it's better than having your money stuck on one of those cards like the H&R Emerald card and not being able to spend it on something that you need to spend it on. Now, many of you have also been reaching out wondering, if I am partially unemployed, can I apply for unemployment insurance? My hours got cut, I'm making less money than I used to, what do I do? The CARES Act says yes. If you are partially unemployed, you can apply for unemployment insurance. So for example, let's say you're a commissioned salesperson and all of a sudden your average income has substantially declined because of this crisis, or for whatever reason, your hours were cut. You don't actually have to get fired to apply for unemployment insurance. You could still apply and potentially take advantage of that $600 per week in federal unemployment insurance. And that $600, of course, is on top of whatever your state gives you. Now, just a big heads up, even though you can request this money retroactively to February 2nd, you might not get it, but you should. You're entitled to get your money retroactively to when you became partially unemployed. So request that from your state. Obviously, a lot of states are having issues processing this, and it's been a very frustrating process for everybody. But also keep in mind that unemployment insurance payments are taxable. So keep this in mind. If you spend your entire unemployment payments, you're gonna owe taxes next year. So keep this in mind for next year when you go to file taxes. You're gonna have to give some of that back. Obviously, I encourage you to fact check this, but my understanding is unemployment insurance benefits are taxable. Now, some other folks have also been wondering, hey, what if I am a Medicaid recipient? Is unemployment insurance, which now pays me more money than I'm used to, going to make me ineligible for Medicaid? And the answer to that is no. And the verbiage for both of these things from the Senate.gov is, do unemployment insurance payments count as income? Yes, unemployment benefits are counted as unearned income for federal tax purposes, AKA you gotta pay your taxes, and the additional $600 in weekly unemployment insurance payments provided by the CARES Act count towards eligibility for means-tested benefits other than Medicaid and children's health insurance programs. So in other words, you can still get Medicaid, but yes, unemployment insurance is considered income and it is taxable. Now, another common question that's coming up is, what if I check the box on my tax return that says I can be claimed by somebody else as a dependent, but nobody else ever claimed you? When can you fix this? Well, right now, there does not appear to be a way to fix this. There is a rumor that you can file an amended tax return, the 1040X, but the problem with this is the 1040X doesn't have a way for you to sort of uncheck what you checked last time. In fact, the amended tax return doesn't ask you the question, can you be claimed by somebody else as a dependent? There is no yes or no box for that on the amended return. So if you check the box initially, you might have to wait until 2020. I'm going to keep researching this. Obviously, if you have information that you think would be super useful for me to share, or if you got questions, make sure to go to the Discord chat down below, or you could leave a comment here on the YouTube channel. But we do have a very good community in that Discord group talking about the stimulus checks and other programs like the PPP and the EIDL. Which, another tip, by the way, a lot of banks allow you to set up alerts on your bank account so that you can get a notification on your phone once you see a $1,200 deposit or whatever. This is really convenient, so that way you don't have to keep logging in. You might be able to set up an alert and then find out, oh, okay, sweet, I already got paid. Now, on the EIDL, some folks are reportedly getting letters saying they have insufficient credit history and they were not eligible to receive an EIDL loan. A lot of those folks are also saying, I also did not receive the advance. This is unfortunately possible. The way the bill is written is that the administrator, the SBA, has the right to check your credit to qualify you for this grant. Well, unfortunately, the bill does not say you need to have good credit or you could still qualify with bad credit. It just says the SBA has the right to check your credit. So unfortunately, that means they can make up their own decision, and if you got that letter, that might be bad news. Now, I will say some folks have reported to me that, hey, I got the EIDL and my credit's like a 550, my credit's shot. So it is possible if you don't have credit established, like you have absolutely no history, that you might not get the advance. Although on the flip side, my credit is frozen, it's locked, and I still got the advance. By the way, I'm also getting reports that people are getting hard pulls from the EIDL on their credit, which is reducing their credit score anywhere anywhere between 3 to 40 points. I personally believe that'll probably be temporary. Usually hard pulls create a relatively short-term and smaller impact on your credit portfolio. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about that too much, although it is kind of frustrating that they are doing full pulls. So unfortunately, it's not entirely clear what's going on at the SBA, but I do encourage, if you need the actual loan funds, that you apply for the PPP if and when they approve a new round of funding for the PPP. It's obviously widely expected that a new round of funding will be approved, so get ready to apply for the PPP when that opens up again. I am not the biggest fan of the EIDL loan, mostly because the EIDL loan is not forgivable, and you're probably going to spend it on similar things that you would be spending the PPP money on. Now make sure you deposit $100 with Webull to get your 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 when you deposit just $100. Also make sure to check out my amazing programs linked below. Use that discount code. Join me in the live streams I do every business day or every day that the market is open at 9 a.m. And until next time.